So I've honestly been kind of avoiding this topic, and that's not by accident. I know people like to call me a clickbaity YouTuber, a guy who goes out there, tries to maximize the amount of views that he gets on the platform, and I'll set it straight right here. Yeah, if you're in a position like I am where you make videos as a full-time job, just getting the clicks is a part of that job, so But either way, even though I am kind of in that territory and people like to call me that so, which I don't really take any offense to because it's not wrong, I haven't made a video about this, mostly because there hasn't really been a reason to make a video in this kind of way. We're talking about Brady Tkachuk once again of the Ottawa Senators, and kind of revisiting some more of the updates that we had recently about the contract negotiations and updates. Now, I'm recording this video in the evening of Friday, October 8th. It'll be uploaded tomorrow at about noon PST, Saturday, October 9th. So, if a signing does happen from now until the time this video is uploaded, then that's my bad. But if there isn't a signing, then I guess you're going to see this video and we're going to be talking about it here. So in the comments as well, when it comes to Brady Tkachuk, we all kind of know the whole story, I guess. Top pick out of the 2018 draft, he's been a consistent NHL point producer, a big body, heart and soul kind of guy, two-way presence, physical presence, and the Ottawa Senators have not re-signed him to a contract. He currently is not able to join the team. When it comes to those contract negotiations, he wants a boatload of money. If you go long-term, you sign an 8-year deal, he wants upwards of $8.4+ million, according to the reports that we had seen out of Pierre LeBrun. That in itself is an extraordinarily high amount of money, and it's one that frankly is not worth it for the kind of player that Brady Tkachuk is right now. He likely will become better as his career progresses, but he has been literally at the same points per game the entire 3 seasons he has spent in the NHL so far, so even though he might become an $8.4 million player sometime down the line, I doubt it happens really, really soon. The report was the Senators offered him an 8-year by $8 million contract, that in which he turned down, which kind of indicates to us that he would be feeling like he's worth a lot more, because if you're turning it down, it means you're not okay with the offer. It's kind of how that works. We had ourselves what was a quote over here from Darren Dreger on TSN 1050 yesterday, talking about other contract possibilities with Tkachuk. If he goes on a 3-year bridge deal, I don't think Brady Tkachuk makes it past 2 years, maybe early into year 3. As long as Eugene Melnyk is the owner of the Senators, he's not going to want to wrestle with another dispute, and now we're starting to speculate on a trade. Now, this isn't really a trade rumor per se. It's not really, oh, he's going to get traded, whatever. It's an idea bringing itself up within the abstract that relies on another hypothetical situation coming true in order for us to have this conversation. Now, the 3-year bridge deal is an interesting one because we had already spoken about this in the context of some of the other guys that had 3-year contract extensions handed out to them in the previous few years. Probably the most common comparable you can find for Brady Tkachuk is his older brother Matthew Tkachuk, who signed a $7 million by 3-year deal back in, 2019 with the Calgary Flames. He also held out before signing this contract. He held out until September 25th. Brady has now held out until October. So it's been a lot longer, and $7 million seems like an interesting ballpark, but you have to remember, Matthew Tkachuk had a 70-point year when he had that contract. Brady Tkachuk has not broken out at a 52-point pace that he has had every single year so far once. So $7 million, just comparing Tkachuk to Tkachuk over here, would be a little bit of an overpayment for Brady if you want to go by the Matthew comparison. Furthermore, Braden Point, Matthew Barzal, Elias Pettersson, 6.9, 7 million, $7.35 million AAV for all of them on 3-year bridge deals after being RFAs. They're all centers, and they were all a lot more productive than Brady was. So just thinking about Brady Tkachuk in a position where it's like, okay, would he sign a $6.5 million bridge deal for 3 years because Braden Point, Barzal, PD, they all got more, Tkachuk got more, Matthew Tkachuk got more? Not really too sure, just based off of what we had heard from the $8 million rejection. We also had word that the Ottawa Senators are trying to go out there and sign him long-term, which makes this a little bit more complicated, but it also makes it a little bit less complicated too. Eugene Melnyk not wanting to go through this entire circus again is a pretty good reason, I would say, to want to go out there and sign him long-term, like the Senators have been reportedly wanting to do. It's just if you can't get him to agree on the money amount, if you sign him long-term, you're kind of at a dead ends there, aren't you? We also had word in the media that Brady Tkachuk was not willing to commit to signing long-term either, which is kind of something we'll address here later in the video. So, what is it now? We had an article here on the Ottawa Sun, published by Bruce Garriock, getting some quotes from Anthony LeBlanc, who is the Ottawa Senators' president of business operations, talking about the Brady Tkachuk contract negotiations. Here are some of the quotes that he has over here. I do have the benefit of being involved with Eugene Melnyk and Pierre Dorion and being able to see how those things are going. It's interesting, and if you've got a second, I will catch you up a little bit. When these things stretch on, they take a little bit of a life on their own. And unfortunately, and this may be a little bit of news to you, you can't believe everything you see on social media. But unfortunately, what we've seen in the last couple of days is conjecture that the problem is the owner getting involved and dictating the negotiations, and that part could not be further from the truth. He pretty much is saying that Eugene Melnyk isn't really the guy doing this and pulling the puppet strings behind the back. It's mostly Pierre Dorion and Melnyk working together, meeting before negotiations and allowing Dorion to do his thing. Pierre came in and said, "These are the parameters I need to get this very exciting and very important player signed." It was a very holistic approach. He had already signed Chabot to a long-term deal and, at that point, was finalizing Drake Batherson. If you watch on Thursday, you've got guys like Stützle, Norris, Pinto, and then people like Sanderson in the system. Pierre's belief is that we cannot make deals based off of one individual. It has to be holistic about where we're going as an entire group. LeBlanc then kind of ends off the interview talking about how he is not involved in the negotiations, but he kind of just sees it from afar, he knows what's going on, and it is kind of interesting just acknowledging the, you can't believe everything on social media point that he makes. Firstly, I'll say this right here, NHL Watcher is just a guy who tweets out what he sees and hears on the radio. He's a very valuable asset to people who go out there and read rumors like this online. But he's quoting Darren Dreger. It's not like this tweet right here is from an unverified source. He does this all the time. He tweets out what people are saying on the radio, which is kind of how we're able to get this information when you're not listening to the radio 24/7. Does that count as traditional social media? I guess so. It's literally a tweet, but it's from a source that is quite known as an NHL insider in Darren Dreger. And so if we try to entertain that final idea, I guess, Brady signs a 3-year deal. Let's just say he gets something in the same ballpark as all the other guys like Matthew and Point and Barzal, maybe a little bit less than that, $7 million, just to be, holistic about it. That's the word they used earlier, right? Holistic. Contract's probably not worth it, straight up, but I don't really see him accepting anything less than that. Where does he go? Where do you see a Brady Tkachuk trade heading when we have this situation in 2 years when Eugene Melnyk is thinking, okay, well, I don't want to negotiate with this guy again. I don't want to repeat negotiating with the Tkachuk camp. Where do we send this guy? Where does he go? And how exactly does he do when he is on a brand new team with fresh blood? I thought it was interesting to note how every single player who has been under this regime who has signed a long-term deal with the Senators doesn't end up finishing that long-term deal with the Senators. It usually goes down that way. This Ian Mendez article on The Athletic goes over why a bridge deal isn't really as bad as you may think it is. And I guess some people might think it's bad because of that Darren Dreger foreshadowing tweet that we saw earlier, but it is just so difficult, to try to comprehend just all of the factors and combine it into a package where it's like, yeah, we're in the middle of October now. Like, why did you not think about this earlier? Did you not converse about the contract amounts or just what exactly the goal would be here with your guy? Oh wait, no, you didn't, because the Ottawa Senators did not offer Brady Tkachuk stuff in the summer. We had the other word coming out earlier that the Senators would just cut off all communication with their stars, and it would leave Brady Tkachuk confused, frustrated. What's going on? Why isn't the team contacting me with a contract proposal? This happens with Eugene Melnyk. It's not something that we are not used to, where the Sens just completely ignore their stars that need new contracts. And it kind of brings up another idea that's like, okay, if you're Brady Tkachuk, would you want to commit long-term to a hockey team that you don't know is going to be that good in the long-term future, that is treating you like this, and where, I guess your family is out there hounding you trying to get more dollars? It is kind of strange, but overall, it's just... Hey, yeah, it's a situation, I guess. So talk to me in the comments, what do you think about a Brady Tkachuk trade? Whether or not you could see that happening, should everything go down the way Dreger lays it out on the table? I'd be lying if I said I'd be surprised because of the growing unease that seems to be apparent in this situation over here. But either way, talk to me in the comments, what do you think? Brady Tkachuk, long-term, short-term, bridge deal, whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.